Hi, thank you so much for joining me. Today I'm going to do something a little different, but firstly, thank you to all my subscribers, and to my new subscribers, welcome. If you like the video, please consider liking. Now, to the guy that's negatively liking my video, have the courage to say why. You're free to do whatever you want. You can dislike and share your dislike to your heart's content, but leave me a comment. Have the courage to do that and tell me why you don't like my videos and what I can do to improve. So today I'm going to be doing the captain's choice, and I'm going to be talking about slickness versus foam. Yesterday I did the review of the Simpson luxury shaving soap, which was terrible. And so what I've done is I've scooped out exactly 1 gram of the captain's choice lime, and I'm going to put that into a clear bowl so everyone can see what I'm doing, and I'll tell you why I'm making this video. So I had a comment yesterday by Sam F asking, how do you make a good captain's choice lather, because he can't seem to do it. It just doesn't seem to work for him. And I'm gonna be talking about that. So first of all, let's just put a gram of this soft soap, which is a crope. It's between a cream and a soap, and we're gonna smear that in the bottom of the bowl, so you can see it's nice and clear, and you can see what I'm doing. All right. So what I do is I smear nice, flat, so it's really stuck to the bottom of the bowl. Then I take a brush, I wet the brush, and I knock out all the water. I wet my face, and then with just a damp brush, I start my lather. And you can see now it's starting to pick up that crope and loosen it up off the bottom of the bowl, and combine it with a bit of water as I smear it around. And so this is the beginning of how to hydrate the cream or the soap. Now, once it's all hydrated, this is where I start to add some drops of water. Because you can always add more water, but you can't take it away. And now I start combining that crope with the water. And this is what I'm left with. I'm left with this lather. And for me, this is my point. This stuff is slick. Now, it doesn't matter how frothy the cream looks. Okay, it doesn't matter whether it's clear or not. What we're after is we're after slickness, not foam. So when you see a shiny foam and guys lathering an inch of foam on their face, it's absolutely useless. The maximum amount of utility is exactly on the skin itself. So even if you have a very fine amount of soap on the skin that's lubricating, that's what we're after. We're after slickness, not foam. So foam and having a shiny lather is completely irrelevant. If it's gummy and it's slick, that's fine. You know, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for slickness. And think about it this way. I wet my face, I'll work this lather a bit more. Think of a rough ice skating ring, okay? And you've got the skates on, and if it's really rough, you're not going to be able to fly across smoothly and effortlessly along that ice rink, no matter how good your skates are. So what we're looking for is we're looking to make that surface of the skin like an ice rink. And what happens is that as the blade travels across the face, that slickness, it glides across the skin better. And any resistance that the blade meets, that's what it's going to cut. So if you have any elevations on the skin, that's what the blade is going to cut. So you can get weepers more easily because there's less glide on the actual skin. And you'll find with very slick soaps and creams like Arco and Captain's Choice, it actually feels like it's embedding itself in the skin. It's very difficult to wash off. And that's the hallmark of something which is terrifically slick and gives quite a lot of cushion and protection to the skin as that sharp blade glides across the skin, as that ice skate slides across the ice rink. That's what we want. We want our skin to be like an ice rink, and we want the resistance to come from the hair. And as the hair pushes towards what we call an end range, it starts to hit resistance, and that's where the blade starts to cut the hair itself, if that makes sense. So let's lather up. And you can see it does produce a white foam just simply by adding water, just a little bit at a time. And most of the soap is not in the bowl itself, but in the brush. And so that's why for me, a thicker knot brush is more useful, because we want it on the brush, we want it in the brush, and we want to apply that brush to the face and transfer the cream or crope from the brush onto our skin. And we work it in so it starts to soften up the hair, hydrates the hair, which makes it easier to cut. That's why we like to use warmer to hotter water rather than cold. We work it into the skin, and that way some of that soap and cream embeds itself into the skin to allow that nice soft cushion. Now, it doesn't matter whether, like I said, it doesn't matter how thick the foam is. It's just literally that first millimeter that we're looking for of slickness. And this stuff is terrifically slick. And the reason why I rub my fingers together is because I'm trying to press, like a tire that runs across the road. I'm trying to press to see whether I can cause the lubrication to stop, to see whether it's gritty, and I just keep on rubbing and rubbing and rubbing until I can kind of, until I get some friction. And if there's no friction, or it's really hard to feel that friction, it means it's a slick soap. And you can literally, after a time, you can develop that sense of whether something's slick or not. Wash your hands, and then you can feel. Like, this is not slick. This is, there's friction there, and it's you feel that difficulty in rubbing the fingers. But when you have a really slick slope, it's just like an ice skating ring. So anyway, let's go with the Gamechanger now. And there's a good angle, you can nail this angle down. There's a very nice sweet spot. And so that's the first pass done. And when I rub my hand across my face, that's slick now. And literally, it's so slick that we can just take some water and we can rub it on the face. And there's virtually enough slickness now to do a second pass. And you can see it's transparent. So what we're going for is we're going for slickness. And to prove my point, I'm not going to lather up again. I'll shave on this for the second pass to show you how slick it is. And you can see that is still slick, and I'm still picking up hair. So this is the point of what I'm trying to make. Don't worry about how a foam or a cream or a soap or a crope, don't worry about how they look. Worry about how they feel. Worry about the slickness. So great, if it's gummy, add a little bit more water until you feel that slickness. But literally, That's slick, that's still slick. And this is what we're going for. Although we have foam, the foam is not what's helping. It's the slickness that it contains. So it's all about the slickness. You know, look at that. That's the ice skating ring that we want. You don't need a lot of it. And that's the point. So let's put some more on. Now the scent of the stuff, that's up to you, but whoever's making this captain's choice, I can tell you, it's a remarkable croak. They know what they're doing. They know what they're after. You know, if you don't like the scent, that's a different story. But the performance of this, for me, it's it beats the $100 soaps so far that I've used. And I've used the French ones. I've used the Italian one. Not to say that they don't perform really well, but I mean, if you haven't used this captain's choice, and you know, you can add tons of water and you've still got it slick. You know, it might present a very fine lather, but that's just slick as. And it's in stark contrast to yesterday's shave with the Simpson. I mean, that stuff is rubbish. Yeah. So comfortable, and it cuts so close and so effortlessly. I mean, that's amazing stuff. And whoever is developing any formula, I would say, you know, Arco and Captain's Choice should be, you know, what you want to try to beat. I mean, it's just picking up the hairs, no weepers, lots of cushion. That is, like, if I was only to use a base, I'd like to use different scents, but as a base, Captain's Choice is, I can't rate it highly enough. And the good thing is that even if you go a bit thin with this soap, provided you let it work into the skin, you're going to have something super slick. So do not worry about how a soap looks, how silky it is, how thick, how much of a Frosty the Snowman look that you have to it. That has absolutely nothing to do with the performance of a soap. Number one, it's all about the slickness, how it embeds itself into the skin, and what kind of lubrication and cushion. And I can tell you that, you know, spending decades sharpening knives by hand, freehand, being able to put double bevels, you know, sharpening Japanese and Western knives, you know, the symmetrical and asymmetrical, sharpening wood chisels, the grit, the surface, and how smooth it is determines what kind of polish you have on the blade and how much is removed. And the smoother it is, and the more homogeneous the stone is, the less it removes, the more polished it's looking. And so the more easily that knife will glide over the stone because there's less abrasion there. And that's exactly, think of the sharpening stone as your skin, and think of the resistance as the stuff that you want to remove. So for me, I want something that's as slick as, for as much skin protection as possible. And I'm not interested in how it looks. I mean, how it looks is irrelevant to me. I mean, if you had to shave blindfolded, you wouldn't care. And how thick it is, well, that safety bar or, you know, knife or straight edge, it's going to remove all of that foam. That foam does so little for you. So, and yeah, the foam is irrelevant. It's all about the slickness, folks. You know, that's what we want. And honestly, that 1 gram of Captain's Choice, Now, if you really wanted to stretch it out, you know, you could get, I think you probably can only use like half a gram if you're really careful and used a brush, you know, a thinner knot brush, and just applied it judiciously and just for enough slickness to cut on. You could use very, very small amount and it will last you a tremendous amount of time. Just like Arco, I used a whole gram and it was overkill. You know, I measured it out. It doesn't need that much. See? Look, no weepers, lots of cushion, not like the other soaps. So if you want less weepers, go for cushion. That's a wonderful shave. That's a wonderful shave. You know, cushion is where it's at, gentlemen. You know, slickness. Forget Frosty the Snowman with mountains of lather on the face. It's not doing anything for you. Okay, we're done. Oh man, that's insane. Residual slickness. When you have trouble washing it off, you know, you've got to do 3 or 4 rinses at least. And I've got hot water here, and I'm trying to rinse it off. That is insane. So slickness versus foam, and you can compare the amount of foam that yesterday's Simpson produced versus how much this Captain's Choice. Less lather, more slickness. Less foam. Actually, I shouldn't say less lather, because the lather would go 5 times longer, 3 times longer than the Simpsons. It has nothing to do with the foam. So foam versus slickness, choose foam every time. Don't worry about the consistency and how it looks on the face and whether it's shiny. Just don't worry about that. Just go for slickness. That's what you've got to do, gentlemen. Go for slickness. It's all about the slickness. So, a bit of hyaluronic after the witch hazel. I'm just using the generic witch hazel rather than the tea tree because I've run out. So, a small amount of hyaluronic and some Pro-Raso. So when people say, oh, you know, I can't get it to foam up, I can't get it to lather up, I can't get, you know, the consistency, it doesn't shine. That's nonsense. Don't worry about it. Slickness. Eau Sauvage. That's a terrific shave, folks. So, I'm really serious. This stuff by Captain's Choice is the bee's knees. Yeah, it cannot be underestimated. And I'm using that as a baseline along with Arco to measure everything against, because you need some kind of baseline to start measuring slickness of soaps and performance of soaps. So yeah, I'm not paid. I bought all my own. I bought this sample and I spent a fortune from sending it from overseas to Australia on shipping and stuff. And the sample sizes are very expensive. But if you've not used Captain's Choice, it's just a sense, the smell of it. I like the Venture and the Lime. The Lime smells like GI cordial, like lime cordial when you were a kid. So Slickness. Thanks.